This is William, hopefully your favorite videographer. We are here at the Dallas Area Rapid Transit Board meeting, the agency known as DART to Dallas, Texas residents. As a service to the Dallas community, we plan to cover DART board meetings from gavel to gavel. Public comments are required to keep DART board aware of issues close to the ridership that they may not get through other resources.
It is now 6:40, and the Dallas Area Rapid Transit Board of Directors meeting is now in session. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for June 5th, 2018. Are there any edits or changes to those minutes? And if not, do I hear a motion? Well, I hear three motions, so that's great. Mayor Stouffer in 2 seconds, Ms. Marino and Ms. Wilkins. All right, thank you. The next item is the CAC report. Who's here to give that tonight? Mr. Brady.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At our June meeting, just last Thursday evening, Chris Grandam, DART Director of Service Planning and Research Analysis, briefed the committee on several elements regarding system ridership. The service planner, Samaya Manzini, accompanied Mr. Grandam. Mr. Grandam reviewed both the existing and proposed ridership reporting procedures. He stipulated that automated passenger counting, APC, the method for collecting data, DART will be moving toward to count bus and TRE riders in the future. LRT and street rider car counts are already performed via this technology. Other modes, including paratransit, DART On Call, GoLink, will be tallied by the reservations with site-specific shuttles and van pool using manual and registration respectively as their methods for data collection. Mr. Grandam stated that DART plans to implement data warehouse technology to facilitate the process, and that this will be the result of more efficient ridership reporting. He reviewed specifics from the March 2018 ridership report, including segment runtime dashboard, average weekday ridership by mode, average Saturday and Sunday ridership by mode, the average weekday ridership trends, DART streetcar average daily ridership by time of day, and the existing ridership patterns for LRT, TRE, streetcar, smart bus. Mr. Grandam reported the overall ridership trends and numbers from the last 3 years, 2016, 2018. And lastly, he briefed the committee on the new development, including new regional projects and the regional land use site map through the DART service area. Following this comprehensive presentation on the ridership, committee members posed a number of questions, including the anticipated impact of the upcoming fare restructuring. Staff addressed all the questions and concerns in a satisfactory fashion. The committee members seemed impressed with the information shared and expressed their thanks and appreciation to both staff employees. Under old business, one of our members is working with the staff seeking an input on how DART's code of conduct might be enhanced. She also commented on a report submitted to the board during public comments earlier in the month and suggestions with Inwood Lowfield Station. As for new business, a committee member is working on the staff pertinent to are an alternate material for seating being considered on buses and rail. We discussed the tentative schedule for upcoming recognition for a former committee member. And lastly, one committee member read a statement regarding the potential lower federal subsidies for public transportation. We really know how that affects DART. I should also note that Charles Gillette, our vice chair, was absent due to recent health procedures, anticipated being at our next meeting with full recovery. And we plan to hear a requested update on the D2 alignment's progress and the project. We certainly thank you for the opportunity to share our report with you. And we know that you are busy and spending a lot of time working for DART. But we would certainly welcome you to join us on the third Thursday of each month for the CAC meetings. This is for KSHEC. I'm Dave Brady. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. The next item on the agenda is our public comments. I'm going to read you the public comment script here. General public comments will be allowed at the beginning of each DART board meeting for a total of 30 minutes, and again at the end of the meeting when the 30-minute period does not accommodate all persons who have signed up to speak. If you wish to speak at the end of the meeting, please fill out a public speaker card and turn it in to board support staff prior to the start of the meeting. Individuals who have addressed the DART board in the past 30 days will be recognized to speak during the public comment period at the end of the meeting. During the public comment period, board members may not interact with the speakers or other board members by asking questions or offering their own comments. Members of the public are reminded that their behavior during DART board meetings is governed by the DART board code of conduct for citizens, news, media, and visitors. Personal attacks, impertinent or slanderous remarks, and boisterous conduct will not be allowed. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. The green light on the podium will indicate when you can begin speaking. The yellow light indicates that you have 1 minute remaining, and the red light indicates that your time is expired. The first speaker tonight is Taylor Chrysler, followed by Robert. Well, I apologize. Thank you, sir. You'll be the next speaker. Thank you.
Hello, board. It's been a long time, but I still want fair affairs. I first met Sherlyn last year in an Italian restaurant that was hosting a lecture about the history of the labor movement. She enthusiastically told me about the famous labor and civil rights leader, A. Philip Randolph, and the inspirations she took from him. She gave me a hug that night, and I believe has done so every time I've seen her since. Sherlyn is one of the most generous and kind people I've had the privilege to meet since I've moved back here. It's my understanding DART's charges against her are minor and wouldn't normally result in a termination. Board, please intervene on her behalf. Knowing human beings like Sherlyn keep me riding DART. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker after Mr. How do you pronounce it?
Ceccarelli.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Is Destin, Germany.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Robert Ceccarelli. I've been here a couple of times. I speak a lot about the homeless, and I'm very fed up about what's going on with the DART bus pass reduced for the homeless. It's going to be taken away for the third time starting at the end of this month. It's devastation. It's got to stop. I don't know what's going on, but it makes the homeless even worse what's going on at this particular time with all the committee meetings, Mayor Rollins. It's really making the homeless suffer on the streets right now. They're gonna be hanging out at the branch, or the farmer's market, and it needs to be put back on immediately. Right now, if you do it again, it's gonna go to $5, or the homeless gonna stay on the streets and suffer like you've never seen before. I really mean this. I heard 8 of you are appointed by the city council. You gotta stop this immediately. I really, really mean this. I asked Nadia Hardy and Monica Hardman to come here. Monica Hartman is Homeless Solutions, and Nadia Hardy works for community development. They go in front of city council a lot about the homeless. I got stood up. I repeat, I got stood up. I'm asking you, especially the people appointed in the city of Dallas, stop this right now. This is the third time that's been done. It's devastating. You're going to hurt, nothing's going to come back now. I really mean this. You have enough problems with the we're working poor, and now you got the homeless, and you're deliberately doing this. Why? Tell me why. I'm just pissed. It's going to hurt me. I need to get to work. I can't afford the $5. I really mean this. You take it, put it back immediately. Do not stop it. Work with Metro Dallas Homeless Alliance so that way you can continue it. Why? Thank you.
Next speaker is Destin Germany, followed by William Sanders Jr.
Good afternoon, my name is Destin. Every day we engage with the public. We lead our combos with, have you heard DART is raising fares? This question is overwhelmingly met with a no, and then followed by a why. And we don't have an answer for them, other than because you guys decided to put it into your 20-year plan. It's obvious that this plan is not taking into account those who are dependent upon public transit, and furthermore, shows that DART is not worried about the livelihood of its riders. From the lack of handicap accessible stops to the lack of baby changing stations, DART continuously seems to be doing the bare minimum of providing transit, and in some cases, not even that. When this group started out, its goal was not to be an advocacy group, but rather to be a collective of riders who could voice their concerns. What we find when petitioning is that people don't have time to come to these meetings and instead thank us for fighting on their behalf. We have spoken with homeless individuals, senior citizens, and even high school students, and they all overwhelmingly oppose your fare hike. We've turned in over 7,000 signatures, and I've given you personal testimonies, all at no response. As always, we ask for DART to implement fair fares. Today, we also ask that you go out, as we have, and tell your riders that their concerns are of no importance to you. In addition to fair fares and safe stops, and our ask for baby changing stations and the limited restrooms that you do have, the North Texas Transit riders also call for the fair treatment of DART employees, specifically Mrs. Sherlyn Samuels today. If DART doesn't care about the input of its employees or its riders, who does DART care about?
The next speaker is William Sanders, followed by Ms. McDaniels.
If I can help somebody as I travel along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can show somebody that he's traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. Madam Chair, Board, Executive Director, Executive Staff, 30 President, officers, members, employees, business owners, ladies and gentlemen. I think I covered everybody. Madam Chair, I am here for the same reason that I was here before. Not trying to tell you or the executive staff, Mr. Executive Director, what to do, but to inform you what is not being done. And what is not being done is treating the employees with respect and dignity. That is not being done, and I'm informing you of that. You know, in 1966, when I was just a youngster at DTS, I came in 1965. I had a habit of walking into the training room saying, "Good morning, everyone," and proceed to my locker to get my working gear to be ready to go. Well, one morning I walked in, and this has been some 50 plus years ago now. I walked in and I said, good morning, everyone. Why? And incidentally, there was a little argument going on at the time when I walked in. It wasn't an argument as going on today in the workplace. This was in the early 60s. So you know what was happening in the early 60s. Well, this elderly, we called him the old timer, this elderly operator said that, no, I said, why can't we have some more love, care, and respect around here? And I walked on into the locker room, and he replied, that N boy hadn't been around here long enough to know what he's talking about. I went in, continued to get my supplies, and I cried. And I've said it before. I said it then, and I'll continue to say it because God is my keeper. Tears of falling on my cheeks are not tears of weakness. My tears are strength under control. I cried, came out, and there was a young man there he didn't look like me. And he put his arms around my shoulder. Am I out, Madam Chair?
You could wrap it up. Go on.
Okay. And he told me, he said, Bill, said, be not weary. He said, that man is not going to be around here long. And let me tell you what happened to him now. He became a N lover. You get me? Do you get me? Now all of that was going, that's why I'm here all the time screaming. I'm not screaming because I'm crazy. I'm not screaming because I don't know what I'm doing. I have gone through the mill. I know what happened, Madam Chair, and I apologize for consuming your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. McDaniels, followed by Ryan Haney.
Good afternoon, everyone. As I said, I've been blessed. I just want, really, what I come to, and I would like for some of a lot of the, as you know, a lot of y'all old peoples have retired and all, and I would like to have some of the planning department and different ones to meet with me and get some things, because like we are getting kind of away from things like we used to be. So if you could, someone could get the planning department or someone to work with me. But that's not what I was speaking about. My concerns is concerning transportation. I've been having some different issues with paratransit particularly. And it seems that the cab drivers and all is not working with DOT. And I always have a problem. And I had to go to the doctor yesterday and I had to end up getting someone else to take me to the doctor. And so what these cab drivers, they refer to their boss and instead of you all. So what I'm saying, you all need to have something worked out with them, their bosses, so we don't have no issues. 'Cause I've been had too many issues. That's one of the things I wanted to mention about. And one other thing I would like to see is Yeah, I understand. I just had to say what I had to say, but I wasn't talking on my issue. If you would excuse me. I would like to see the seniors get transportation. We have paratransit, and see, I'm on the senior affairs at the city, and for District 6, and each of us councilman peoples, is trying to work for transportation, and I would like DART. And I know you all have heard about us, trying to get things for seniors. Y'all have paratransit, but you don't have anything for seniors. You understand? So anybody could work with me and get with me, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McDaniels. You know Doug Douglas and Rob Smith.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
They're-
the point being is they don't make the decision. Mr. Douglas, he's aware of what I'm talking about. Why that we can't have transportation for seniors?
Well, they make recommendations.
I mean, don't y'all have a person that represents the department or something?
Rob Smith represents planning. You may want to speak to him. You know Mr. Smith, he's right over there.
Yeah, but I mean on the transportation.
He does the planning for transportation.
Huh?
He does the planning for transportation? Would that be helpful to you?
Oh, well, yeah, that's the department I came from.
Okay.
30 years ago.
We'll see if that helps. Okay? He can communicate to Mr. Thomas whatever you say. Or Mr. Smith can communicate back to Mr. Thomas your ideas, or you can. You can Mr. Thomas too.
Oh, yeah, long time.
Right? Okay. Well, thank you.
Just like I know you long time.
I know. You know me a long time.
You know me better than anybody on the board. Because you know about how we work together in those committees.
That's right, we did.
And you told me, said, you don't have to be on a committee. Said, what did you say about back there? Do you remember?
No, I don't, but you seem to. Yes, yes.
Yeah, you said you don't have to necessarily be on the board. Said, you know how to carry on.
Well, you do. That's right, and thank you for coming. Appreciate it. All right, our next speaker is Ryan Haney, followed by Gary Stewart.
Good evening. I'd like to speak tonight about the wrongful termination of DART bus operator Sherlyn Samuel. I met Sherlyn over a year ago through the union movement. I myself am a truck driver. I'm also a member of Teamsters Local 745. Though we don't come from the same workplace, the same union, or the same industry, I know for a fact that she would be standing up for me if I was in similar circumstances today. Over time that I've known her, she's demonstrated an incredible passion for doing right for her fellow workers and for the community that DART serves, including her advocacy of fair fares for DART riders. About a month ago, she was deprived of her livelihood after 26 years of service to our city as a bus operator. The reason? A clear case of political retaliation against someone who had the courage to speak out on behalf of those who depend the most on DART. This should be cause of commendation, not termination. As many workers know, management can often be small-minded, petty, even vindictive. But the DART board, I believe, has an opportunity here to see larger vision at play and to understand that we need more Sherlyns in the workforce, not fewer. So I urge you to wield your influence with DART management to advocate for Sherlyn Samuel's reinstatement with full back pay for her wrongful termination. And I urge you to ensure that DART is a workplace that's free of harassment and political retaliation. Thank you.
The next speaker is pardon me, Gary Stewart, followed by DeBoss Christian.
Evening, Board. I'm sorry I haven't been able to attend these because of my job. I'm a social worker, working with the mentally ill, but thankfully I've been able to get Tuesdays off now. First, I want to thank those on this board who joined us, the North Texas Transit Riders, in persuading the larger DART not to do away with trade school passes and not to raise reduced fares for regional passes by 140%. To those of y'all who voted for that and pushed this organization to do that, thank you so much. But that's the only praise right now. I'm very angry, and many thousands of people are angry that y'all still went ahead to decide that y'all will go ahead with a 20% fare hike, in spite of over 6,000 signatures that were presented to you, besides all the witnesses and testimonies of people who will be adversely affected by the 20% rate hike, and even by the mayor, who I do not really like very much, but their poverty team made it very clear that because of the lack of decent transit down in South Dallas is feeding the income disparity in the city. And Dallas has one of the worst records in the United States for income disparity. You have, I'm not talking about the individuals who stood up for the people, but as this organization as a whole, you have defecated on South Dallas. You have spat in their eyes in your turn to offer favors to developers and higher income neighborhoods. This institution is racist, and you should claim it. I would say that we would try to drag your name through the mud, but you're doing a wonderful job by yourselves. And I'm just going to say, this battle is not over. We're going to go, and we have been going into the neighborhoods in South Dallas and let people know what is going on, because you know what? They're working 2 to 3 jobs, and they can't come here to let you know the rage and the damage you are causing to them as families and as communities and neighborhoods. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. But you know what? We're going to put the heat on you so that if you can't burn from shame, you're going to burn from our anger. Thank you.
The next speaker is DeBoss Christian, followed by Sherilyn Samuel.
Good evening. We brought the paddlers to indicate one thing: loyalty. Loyalty to the employees and loyalty to the passengers that we represent. Now, to the employees of DART, I came to you asking you about the insurance. I came to you asking you about the 504. We still have ongoing issues consistent in them too. But the sad thing is you added a wrinkle to this plan. U.S. Health Work over at Empire, where you send the drivers to do DOTs. That's an embarrassment for what you stand for what you represent. U.S. Health Work, that's an embarrassment. Now, when operators go there to do their DOT physicals, they're coming in with documentations from their private physicians that indicate that they do not have sleep apnea. Now, you have an employer there that's overweight herself. And because employees are coming in overweight, they've been charged with sleep apnea. Now, even though they got documentation from their private physicians indicating that they do not have it, there's no need to take it, you're forcing them to go. But see, the problem I got is you're making them accountable for it. You're holding them accountable for it. I got 2 or 3 that's brought it to my attention since yesterday. And all 3 are late. I got one out of South Oak Cliff. Maddie Davis. She was told because this young lady said she was overweight, that she had to go take the sleep apnea test, that she had it. Now, the doctor there didn't have no documentation to indicate that she did it, but because she said that she was overweight, she recommended that she go do the services. Now, she went there and paid the $50 deductible, and then she came out of her pocket. Then they told her she was going to have to pay $475 to take the test. And she called me saying, "Boss, I can't do that. I can't afford $475 for something I don't have." So I had to go to an independent doctor, sleep apnea doctor, that charged $180. They did the test. They came back and said she do not have sleep apnea. So who should be held responsible for that? Who should be held accountable for that? Why should she have to come out the pocket for something? First, she indicated that she did not have. And second, she went through the procedures to get it checked, and then the doctors from there came back and said she did not have it. Should she have to come out the pocket, or should she be reimbursed through DART? So I'm asking, what do we do about this? As I indicated before, it's an embarrassment to go over there to health work over there off Empire. They are forcing the drivers to take DOTs when they got documentation to indicate that they do not have it. And then the drivers are coming out of their pocket for something that they should not be. So I'm asking DART to go back and reimburse the drivers that are being forced to take the DOT and then come back and find out that they do not have it. So the drivers won't be held accountable for something that they indicated to U.S. Health Work that they did not have. Appreciate it.
Ms. Samuels, followed by Samuel Lombaugh.
I am glad to be back in the house. I couldn't come because the policy says when you're on administrative leave, you cannot come on property. But I could have came to the DART board, but I wanted to make sure that I followed the instructions so I could not encourage somebody wrongdoing to do something else wrong. When I was a kid, I was raised up in McNeil, Arkansas. If you blink your eye, you can pass by. Had to walk 5 miles to the jewelry store. 5 miles back. 2 Saturdays, the owner of the store had a bag of sugar and tossed it to me and said, "Catch a gal." On my way home, I didn't know no better. I didn't know what was going on. I thought he was just playing a game. My grandfather explained to me racism at that time. The next Saturday, being a kid, I didn't remember. So the owner did it again. "Catch, gal." And I got the sugar. This time when I got home, I got whooped. You're gonna understand racism. Our family do not tolerate racism. The last time I was here on April the 24th, the board meeting was over with. I'm talking with Miss Phyllis, and David walks up and say, "Listen, gal." What? So I immediately started saying, "Get out of my face, leave me alone. You have nothing to say to me. I do not want to talk to you." He wouldn't move. So I started yelling and screaming to the top of my lungs. "Help me. Please, somebody help me. Come get this man. Make him leave me alone." No one came to help me. But someone, Jesse Oliver, went out and got the security guard to come get me. And then I was put on administrative leave and terminated. All of this is retaliation because I come and bring you news about the sexual harassment that's going on in this company. Dr. Burke, what did y'all terminate her for? Sexual harassment. Maurice Bell, why is he out of here? Sexual harassment. Why are you hiding people in East Dallas? One just resigned. Sexual harassment. So because I bring the truth, they make up lies on me. to terminate me. So when you see the paperwork, ask for my termination paperwork. Every last one of their witnesses said that I was yelling and screaming, help, help, come help me. No one came to help me. But I tell you, as God is my witness, this is not over with. And I will appreciate it at the DART board that you all will check into this and stop this foolishness. Jesse Oliver do not like Carol Wise. He got mad because I would not file with Muhammad because she told me, oh, you down there cussing out people in the People Center, and that was not true. And he escorted me down to Muhammad's office.
Mr. Lombard?
Reach out and get it.
Right here.
Good evening, everyone. My humble greetings to all of you here. By the way of introduction, my name is Samuel Lombe. I'm a political and social and disability activist who have been charting the cause to see the well-being of people living with disability in our society. Internationally, I've been traveling, moving around, trying to see the well-being. I've been having a couple of issues with a couple of employees from the paratransit department that is trying to, suppress the right of people living with disability. But I'm grateful to God for DART having the kind of big heart and mind to be able to provide services for people who live with disability in this state. I'm so grateful for your hard work and things that you are doing. I appreciate it. I'm standing here on behalf of the disabled community, that we need your attention. Sometimes people don't understand how to treat us. People look at us as red, as trash. And I tell them one thing, we did not buy this disability. We did not went into a store to pay for it and cost us where we are today. No one escaped disability. NV Transit is a very decent institution that we want it to continue. We appreciate the hard work they're doing, even though we know that there are some challenges within it. We are having a lot of challenges within it. I'm here for two purposes. One, I want you to look into the situation that is going on with people with disability. Madam Chair, nobody escaped or nobody can run away from disability. Today you are who you are. Tomorrow you might find yourself some way. I am advocating today that we maintain NV Transit to help us because many of our interests lies within this. We are students, instructors that need to get to our very places. And we will appreciate it if you can support these people, educate and bring on board people that understands the chicanery that's surrounding issue of disability within the DART setting. How many people with disability is in this board or within the DART setting that understand the issue of people living with disability? Sometimes when we speak, our voice are not heard because people look at, oh, that blind man, that crippled man, or that deaf man. It is wrong. Do not discriminate against us. Today we are here.
Sir, I'm sorry the red light's on. Your time is up. If you'd like to talk to Mr. Douglas further this evening, you may do so, if that would be helpful to you.
If you suggest that, Madam Chair, we will go on and we appreciate, we hope that our message will go through and we will see some result of it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
That concludes the 30 minutes of speakers before the meeting. We'll now go into our regular agenda. The first is the consent agenda. We have two items. Item number 7 has been deferred to the Committee of the Whole, for the next Committee of the Whole. And item number 8, Mr. Wageman.
Madam Chair, I'm going to recuse myself from agenda item number 8. It involves at least two entities that my law firm represents. I do not represent either of them, nor do we represent them on DART-related matters, but out of an abundance of caution, I'm going to recuse myself.
Okay, we will take the rest of the consent agenda, items number 4, 5, 6, 9, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 as the consent agenda. Do I have a motion? Mayor Slagle moves and Mayor Stouffer seconds. All in favor, please press the appropriate button. The consent agenda passes unanimously. We'll now move back to public comment. The items number 15, 16, and 17 were discussed at the Committee of the Whole only. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I beg your pardon. We need to do number 8. I apologize. All right, do I have a motion for number 8? Excuse me.
So moved.
Ms. Kraus? Second, okay. All in favor? Or push? Push your button. Okay, the motion passes. I apologize for that little deal. We'll now move to individual items. We're all done in the Committee of the Whole this time. And so we will go back to our public comments again. This time our first speaker is Albert Durla, followed by Alex Talecki.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Gary Thomas, and the rest of the board. This sign right here represents unity, working conditions, and representation. Unity is, I got all my people here, if they can stand up, please. That's the unity. We're here on issues that you're hearing. Working conditions is, just recently, we were given a bonus. And this bonus was negotiated in meet and confer back around 2010 with, if you do 80% or more, then there'll be a first and second place. Well, this last bonus, because somebody in the executive leadership team changed that 80% to 90%, and now nobody in Pier 1 group got the first and second place bonus. That was changed without proper modification. The first time the 80% was done in proper modification. That is the working condition that I'm bringing to you today. First and foremost, I want to let you know and thank you for increasing the tool allowance. We just heard about that last week, so thank you, board, for your assistance on that. Secondly, I'm here on behalf of my union sister, Sherilyn Samuel, and co-worker. DART, for some reason, is listening to a one-sided story, and that is not Sherilyn Samuel. Because if DART did, Sherilyn Samuel would still be here. She's 26 years working here at DART. She comes to work every day. She shows up every day. She drives her bus safely, soundly, and gets her passengers to and from AB safely. No safety violations that I know of. I never heard of her having no safety violations, accidents. And DART retaliated against her because of her union activism. Sherilyn Samuel thought highly of the things she did. She cared about people. That's the representation in this pocket paddle right here. That's the representation. Unity, working conditions, and representation. Unity's right behind me. Working conditions is that bonus, that health care, that 504 plan, and everything else we're coming to you in these past months.
and then the representation is the things we do with Sherilyn Samuel. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker. The next speaker is Alex Talecki, followed by Ken Day.
Hi. I'm Alex Talecki. I'm here with the North Texas Transit Riders. I also wanted to point out there are folks here from the Democratic Socialists of America and from the North Texas Dream Team, a couple of organizations which, like the North Texas Transit Riders, have worked with Sherilyn Samuel over the past year, and she's an incredible person and an amazing community activist, and I can vouch for what she said about the situation that led her to be suspended for a month. I was right there when it happened. I can say that was exactly what happened. She doesn't have to talk to someone who gets in her face if she doesn't want to. So I would encourage you to reinstate someone who's worked here for many years, is an amazing person who cares about her community and is not going to tell you lies or comfortable things that aren't true. She's going to tell you the truth, and that's why you should keep her on here. So thank you so much.
Kenneth Day.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Mr. Thomas. I'm going to try to put as much as I can in these 3 minutes. First of all, on the health care, we've been working toward trying to resolve it. We're not there yet, but I do want to say we are working toward trying to resolve the health care. Second thing I'd like to say, a couple of months ago, I presented you with a fact-finding recommendation. And it's your obligation, Madam Chair, board members, to respond to that fact-finding. As of today, you have not. You have failed to respond. Now, I said to you once before, we don't have but a few rights. And the few rights that we have, we plan to keep them. One of those rights we have is a right to come before you as private citizens, as employees, and speak our mind with respect. And we're going to do that. You're not going to silence us by discharging someone. What you have done is wrong. That decision was made from the top down, not up, from the top down. I was standing in this room when Ms. Samuel made her comment. And the comment she made was, the Citizen Advisory Board does not reflect us. Y'all remember that? And she turned around and faced everyone. At the end of the meeting, I've been knowing Mr. Brady a long time. He walked up to her in her face. She asked him to get out of my space. I'm not talking to you. And she asked him more than once. Then she began to holler, police, police. Someone went out and got the security guard. Mr. Morgan had to make 2 attempts to escort Mr. Brady from in her face, out the door. That decision is wrong. It's wrong, and you're not going to silence us. The investigation was one-sided. They investigated everybody, Mr. Morgan and everybody else. Never once reached out to anybody else that was in this room. Never once did they call Ms. Samuel and talk to her before they made the decision to discharge her. It's a one-sided decision, it's one-sided investigation, and it's wrong, and we're better than this. This should not stand, and she should not have to go through a grievance process for 5 or 6 months. Thank you.
That concludes our public comment period. Item number 20 is adjournment, and so I will adjourn the meeting tonight at 8:30. Thank you for coming. I mean, 7:23. My apologies. My watch is wrong.
Ms. Williams, hopefully your favorite videographer. We love comments. If you don't like the way Dart is handling things, lay it out for everyone to see. Moses